Mortal Kombat and Baldur's Gate. What can really be better? This is the best Sub-Zero build you will find if you want to put Sub-Zero into your Baldur's Gate 3 playthrough. I'm already getting confused between the games. We will start this with a monk. Now we will be doing a level by level guide as well as a combat tutorial as always. So let's get going. Starting with the monk at first level. Now for our stat array, we really want to focus on dexterity as this is our fist attacks and I believe wisdom. Probably constitution as well. These three are going to be your core ones. For this, I would probably start with having your dexterity at 16, bump your con up to 15, and have something along the lines of this. If you really want to, you could bump your strength down to, say, 10, bump your wisdom up to 15, or bump your con up to 16 like that. If I was to do this personally, I would probably bump my strength down and leave it more akin to this. When it comes to our proficiencies, of course, athletics and acrobatics, because we are Sub-Zero. Okay, so for our Sub-Zero build, it is, of course, very easy to follow. It is purely Monk. So we're going to stick with Monk at second level. This gives you a bunch of stuff, such as unarmored movement, patient defense, attack rolls against you have disadvantage, step of the wind, so we can double our movement speed. That is a bonus action using our key points. And we can disengage, so very roguish. Now it's at level 3 where this build really comes into play. So for our subclass, we are of course the way of the 4 elements. And we are going to just change this so it's only purely ice. Now for the first 3 spells you're going to take for this build, Shape of Ice. This basically allows you to make ice cubes. Not really that helpful in combat unless you want to create like a tower for an archer or someone to stand on, so they've got the high advantage, but not too bad. Chill of the Mountain, so call forth the cold mountains and winds and reduce the target's movement speed by 3. Very, very useful. And Blade of Rime, throw a shard of ice that deals 1d10 piercing damage. It explodes and deals 2 to 10 cold damage to anyone nearby. And this leaves an icy surface. Okay, for your feat here, I would take either Durable, so your constitution increased by 1, maximum of 20, and you gain 4 hit points each time you take a short rest, or I would take Tough. Your hit point maximum increases by 2 for every level you have gained. At this point, I would personally take Tough. I think that's a very good benefit. Okay, at level 5 we have access to more Ki and we get our extra attack, as well as Stunning Strike. Possibly stun the target. This is a great ability. Level 6 we are sticking with our Monk ability. This is not a mod class, this is pure Monk. We get Ki Empowered Strikes. Your unarmed strikes count as magical for the purpose of overcoming enemies, resistance and immunities to non-magical attack, as well as improved unarmored movement. Amazing. We also have access to a new spell. At this point, I would go with either Clench of the North Wind, hold a humanoid enemy still. They can't move, act, or react, because Sub-Zero is good at freezing people in place. It's a little bit different, but it has got that flair of being Sub-Zero. Fist of the Four Thunders, release away the thunderous force that pushes away all creatures and objects. I think that works because Sub-Zero can obviously hit very, very hard, so I think that just naturally works very well. The other option is Water Whip if you want to stick within the ice and water-esque theme. So I will take this just to show you how it works in combat, but I would personally stick with this, but this is very self-explanatory. Okay, we are level 7 now. We get more key points, we get evasion. So agility lets you dodge out the way of certain spells. When a spell or effect would deal half damage on a successful dexterity saving throw, it deals no damage if you succeed, only half damage if you fail. Amazing. And Stillness of Mind. If you're charmed or frightened, you automatically cast Stillness of Mind. Level 8, and we get our next feat. For this, we are going to do an ASI ability improvement, and we're going to dump it into Dexterity. Okay, level 9, we are already up to 93 health, which is amazing. More key points, advanced unarmored movement, improved elemental casting. Your affinity with elemental ki deepens. Several of your offensive 4-element features deal an additional die of damage. Your Clench of the North Wind can hold an additional creature, and your Embrace of the Inferno fires an extra ray. Amazing. At this point, we would take Clench of the North Wind, just because we can now hold 2 people. We have hit that level 10 mark. We are now in the triple digits for health. We have improved unarmored movement again. And Purity of Body. You're immune to poison damage and can't be poisoned or affected by disease thanks to the purifying ki flowing through your meridians. Okay, level 11. Very self-explanatory still. We are just bumping up our Monk again. And now for this, I would go back and take the Fist of the Four Thunders. And our final level was level 12. ASI improvement once again. Bump this up to 20, so now we have a +5. Okay, that is our stat and leveling. We're going to go and just buy some ropes just to get him out of the armor. And then we're going to go and jump into combat. So give me 1 second, guys. Okay, we are in combat now. I couldn't find any monk clothing for him, so we're just running around in our underpants to get the unarmored defense. Any armor that you have on will reduce his AC. Please bear that in mind. So we're going to go for this in our pants, because, you know, why not? Now, the monk build is all about using our ki to cast spells and also boost up our damage attacks. Now, we do this very simply. We're just going to see how it looks when we just do a bunch of normal attacks. So you see, we did 9 damage there. So now on 17 damage for the round. That is both of our attacks used. We can then do a bonus action, which we missed, but that would be a 3rd attack in 1 round. Okay, so you saw our attacks and our bonus action round. Now let's start using some of our key points for some of these. Now, Water Whip possibly pulls the target towards you and knocks it prone. This was the one I spoke about before. So we'll try and knock it prone. We'll do this on Lorokan. And there you go, very useful spell. He's now on the floor, he'll have to stand up as part of his round, so if he wants to move, whatever, he's now more limited. Very, very good spell. Now, unfortunately, that is a whole action, but because of that, you can then do something like Fury of Blows. And you can still get a bunch of rounds of attacks in after that. Okay, so now it's time to check out some of our other spells. As I was telling you about Shape of Ice, there will be some use for this somewhere, but this is effectively what the spell does. So then again, if you wanted to, you could, once we dodge the attack, jump up here, and then technically you do have some high ground advantage. It would be useful somewhere if you can fit this in. It's probably more useful out of combat than anything if you want to reach a higher place. But you do have this option, and potentially it is a throwable item, I believe. I'm not entirely sure, I've never tested it, but it looks like it should be a throwable item. So if you've got someone super strong like a Barbarian or a Karlach, you should be able to do that. But this is why you really play this build. Blade of Rime. So we get disadvantage on them. Disadvantage on them as well. I'm believing it's because of our closeness. So let's just back up a little bit. So okay. Now, Blade of Rime. Now, it did unfortunately damage everyone around you. It does also do not AoE, it does also do friendly fire, so please bear that in mind when you use it. And as it does state, it does now make ice on the floor. So just something to bear in mind, if you do cast this, you are capable of damaging your own allies. So be very, very careful. But you can follow that up, once again, with a Blade of Fury, something like that. Okay, and the last ability we're going to check on this is the Call of the Mountains, also Chill of the Mountains. We get to do Rare Frost and we get to slow the enemy down. And it's a good chunk of damage and it's very Sub-Zero-like. Those are the key abilities you are going to use with this build. That then allows us to run back in with a Fury of Blows. And look at that damage, big old chunk of it. That is the Sub-Zero build for Baldur's Gate 3. If you've enjoyed, please drop a like, helps me amazingly. Let me know what you change in the comments below. Let me know what other builds you want to see. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. It helps me out amazingly. And hopefully, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.